Welcome back to Geeks and Grounds, a monthly game club and a weekly podcast where we play games and brew good conversation together. I am your host, Jenny Wyndham.
And I'm Joel Thomas.
And, the London Underground wasn't all I thought it was going to be.
They said mind the gap, and it was just the gap was just very different than I was expecting.
There was, lots of gaps, lots of rusty metal, blood.
And for a place that has so many safes, I was not feeling very safe. So
no,
don't know. I mean, just an odd
yeah,
jambalaya of things going on.
Yeah, 0 out of 10 would not ride that subway again. How are you doing, Joel?
I'm doing great. We're off to a bright, sunny week here in Portland, and I'm not thinking about the implications of that long term.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You know what? We're gonna enjoy whatever we can when we can, because you know what? We need to find a little bit of that.
Yeah, I took a walk to the grocery store today. It was lovely.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds really nice. Actually, I probably will be doing that after this. It won't be sunny. We're like on the cusp of, what is it? Daylight savings time? Throwback daylight time? I don't know. Whatever it is when the sun gets to set less early in the day. Whatever that is, I'm so excited.
And you're rocking the new background. I love the new colors and imagery.
Yeah, well, I just, honestly, my room, you cannot see it because I've tried to be somewhat artistic in terms of like the stuff that surrounds the edges of my room. But folks who are frequent listeners or who have seen in Discord, my home is undergoing some renovation, some chosen, some not chosen. And currently there is just like a variety of stuff in every room of the house that is currently functional because we have construction happening. So artistically, on the outside of the room, outside of the camera range, there are just boxes and bags. You might be able to see some in the background slightly. And then I had to stash a bunch of stuff on the shelves back here. And it was looking so bad, just so janky. And I was like, we got to do something. So fortunately, vinyls fit perfectly.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. So these are actually all vinyls. Astute observers who are watching on YouTube or Spotify, actually, because we have video episodes on Spotify, can see this is Sea of Stars. There's a Garden Story one in the middle, which I worked on, so that one's a special one. Songs of Summer from, I think, is Black Record Labels, and Spirit Swap and Garden Story are both on that one, so that's cool.
Cool.
Undertale, yeah. So some good indie game rep there.
We love it. I would love to get some vinyl decor going. It seems very fun.
It is. Honestly, I'm like, the art is so good. Gotta display it.
Yep, 100%.
Yes. So for folks tuning in, this is the first in our February arc. We are going to be discussing the game Sorry We're Closed for this month. I'm really excited because this is a game I've been looking forward to playing, looking forward to talking about for quite some time. I think, Joel, had you played the Steam Next Fest demo?
I missed the demo. I just watched the videos of it, and I remember being really on edge watching those videos. Like, I'm really intrigued by this, but I don't know what I'm getting into.
Yeah.
And well, I still feel that way. So
Yay. So very excited to dive into that. That is going to be our main game for the month of February. We'll have a bonus brew, but that will announce, actually, we can announce it right now because we can head into the pastry case, and that'll be our news for today. The pastry case is our grab bag of topics from the industry, our own lives, and other media that we're consuming that aren't just the monthly brew. So to talk about the bonus brew, this is something that's brand new to 2025. Last time we talked Blueprints demo with Josh Boykin. Amazing. This time around, for astute observers, you'll also have noticed this was actually the original bonus brew for last month, and I switched them around just because the Blueprints demo was still available, and I really wanted, honestly, just to talk with Josh after he played. This time, we're going to do the bonus brew called the Dark Queen. Is it Morthel May? Mortholm, Dark Queen of Mortholm. This is an itch game, and it means it's free. It's also 20 minutes long, but I think it's got some themes in there that really tie in with some of the themes we're going to be seeing in Sorry We're Closed. And so I thought it'd be a really nice one to play this month of February, talk about relationships, platonic, not platonic, just antagonistic, perhaps even demonic. So that conversation will be that last week of February. And yeah, I think that's it for like the housekeeping part of the pastry case. Do you have it? Is there anything I might have missed?
No, I'm just so excited to get into this. And, anything that we can tie into the supernatural, paranormal, occultish, I'm all about it.
Oh, yeah. Heck yes. So for fun stuff, not that wasn't fun, but
what have you been getting into, Jenny?
Okay. I will say this. I have not watched the latest episode of Severance. But only because of the construction. We had fans going all weekend, and so we could have tried watching it, but I really didn't want to watch it with the fans killing the mood. So I'm going to be caught up soon. But I have watched The Substance, which, have you seen that?
I never watched. This is Demi Moore.
I think it's Demi Moore. I'm so bad at actors. Yeah. The Substance is, I don't know if it's in streaming services yet. I'm looking at it right now. I saw it in the theaters. But basically it's about a celebrity who is kind of, according to Hollywood, past her prime. And so she is taking this sort of black market drug that sort of temporarily is supposed to be creating a younger, better version of herself. And so it is very Dark Mirror, twisted, just psychological, honestly, horror, I think. That's how I would classify it.
Love it.
And I think if you like that kind of vibe, it is an outstanding movie and you should take a look. I'm checking and it doesn't seem like it's on streaming services. It's on Prime Video to purchase if you are into that. But honestly, I really liked it. I thought it was really, really good. Yeah.
I've heard a lot of good things about it. It's on my list. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. But I guess, what have you been watching?
I did, just following Jenny's instructions. Thank you, big sis. Shrinking, I've been getting into, very much enjoying it. As a longtime Scrubs fan, like, it's same creator, just scratching that itch for me. And then the season premiere of Harley Quinn season 5. I talk about this every year. Still love it. Love the romance with Harley and Ivy. The creators have said that, like, this is not going to be we're not doing the bury your gaze thing here. Like, we're going to have this like very fun, loving relationship and all the insanity around them. And so it's just a really, really cool story. And gore in to me, what is a fun way. So a little bit of trigger warning or content warning on that. And the finale of the most recent Not Another D&D podcast dropped over the holidays, and I'm finally getting to listen to that, which is, I mean, they only do D&D now like once a month or 1 to 2 times a month, depending on how long the month is. So I've been listening to this arc for a couple of years, I think, at this point.
Wow.
So it's very cool that it's finally like coming to a close, and it's been a really good one.
Wow. Are they like, is this going to be the finale forever?
No way.
Okay.
It can't be. It's fun because they've really branched out. They do like choose your own adventure style book clubs. They do dungeon court, where people write in like things that they argued about at the table and they weigh in. And it's just now it's kind of like a grab bag of things that I really enjoy. And the story is just like one more thing to enjoy. So
yeah,
I'm sure they'll come up with more stuff for us.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. You been getting anything else?
Let's see. I haven't gotten very far, but I did start Heavenly Tyrant. I'm so excited. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to reporting back on that. I finished The Hollow and the Haunted. This is the book that I have been reading over the last couple of weeks, just like poking at before I go to bed, because I've been trying to do a little bit more reading in the evening besides just being on my phone. I thought The Hollow and the Haunted was charming. Again, it was what I
We'll take the
needed,
rack.
just lighthearted YA. Again, I think I said it was like disaster queer, enemies to lovers, magical paranormal story. And honestly, if I was younger, this probably would have been like my Twilight. I probably would have written
my Twilight is the ultimate endorsement.
I would have written fanfic, and I probably would have drawn these characters. Now I'm just too tired, but in my mind, I wish I had the time and the energy.
Speaking of Heavenly Tyrant, did you see the author's post this week about
No.
a change to the text?
No.
So they were writing that people thought it was too subtle and didn't realize that one of the characters was getting pegged. And so they put a note on their Instagram with like an image, and they were like, everyone, please open your books to this page and write these exact words at the very top. You can cover the page with a piece of paper so that you don't get any spoilers, but I need you to write these words because it needs to be very clear what's happening here. And they're like, everything else has... in all future reprints, this text will be there.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. I have the library book, so I should,
you should do
that.
You know, public service. Exactly. Help the community out.
You know what? I will. Oh my goodness. I'm going to keep my eyes out for that post. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. That author is so good. I would love to see them live. Like, because I'm sure they do like tours and signings and things. I would love to go see them.
Same.
But yeah, so far, I won't spoil anything, but so far, really enjoying my time with Heavenly Tyrant. The other book that I have on hold is, what is it called? This is my sort of like, not embarrassed read, but this is my more maybe commercial read, and that is the Onyx Storm. The Fourth Wing,
the Fourth Wing
world. I will say the second book I found disappointing. The first one was like so cheesy in all the right ways. The second one, lackluster. I'm really hoping the third one rises up to the challenge.
They pull it out. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really happy that I've been spending more time reading lately, which has been really fun. And I got through some games. Trying to, now that I'm not testing Spirit Swap all night. Every night congrats. I'm playing other games. So I tried a demo for this title. It's out now, but I just played the demo because it looked cute and I just wanted to see what it was played like. It's called Prickle, and it's basically just a simple puzzle game where you are a hedgehog and you have to collect your hedgehog kids and like go to the end of the level. And so what happens is you move around on a sort of D-pad axis, like up, down, left, right, and you collect the hedgehogs by touching them, and they stick to you on the side that you touch them on. And so you essentially move around and create like your own Tetris piece that you have to be able to move through the level and get to the door. And
I love this.
It's really charming, really cute. I think I might actually pick it up because it was under $5, I think. It was like $5 or $6 maybe. And it was just a really fun puzzle game. And I loved the like hand-drawn charm. I love that it was very simple, very straightforward. And the puzzles get increasingly complex. So you start dealing with wonky walls and you have to make certain shapes because otherwise you can't navigate it. There's like puddles and water that you have to figure out how to cross. So really, really charming and cute. Yeah, it has a free demo. Lock Digital, which is a game that has been out on PC and I think just came out on mobile. That's a word game where you try to create, it looks like Scrabble, but you're trying to fill in the white tiles, turn them black by essentially creating fake words. Every word in that game is not real, but you start seeing the words rather than as words, as symbols. And so you start to try to create these combinations to make all of the tiles black. Really smart, really fun. If you like Wordle, Scrabble, it's not a Scrabble game in that you're not picking words, but you're seeing patterns. And I love games where you identify patterns.
I love the demo for that. That's probably
Oh
maybe the
yeah, you played
best
it.
like
Yeah.
Steam Next Fest demo I've ever played. Actually, I think it might be my fave. I didn't realize it was
It's
out, so I'll to
it's
pick that up.
so good. And it's on mobile too. I was
Oh, it's
debating because I
perfect
got
for
a
that.
key for PC, but then I was like, I might actually just buy it on mobile because I think it'd be so much fun to play.
Yeah, totally.
And they have dailies too. So again, if you're like missing the word puzzle world, this is an option for that. So
Very fun.
and then Citizen Sleeper 2. When we post this, this will be after the launch, but this is we're recording this early. So my early thoughts, because I just started Citizen Sleeper 2, amazing. So far, I'm having a blast. I love the way the systems have deepened. I
Mm.
love that there's a little bit more interaction. I feel like with other characters, like it feels more meaningful to me.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I think once maybe you hop into it, if you get a chance and stuff, we can talk more about it later.
Ooh, so
Yeah.
just a little game, Citizen Sleeper 2.
Yeah, just a small little
Just a small
game.
little game. That's
For
very
folks who
fun.
are new, we played Citizen Sleeper last year, so this
Hmm.
is like I don't even know what to call it. It's like part of the family. But
Yeah.
family feels like such a weird word all the time because corporates have taken it. But it's part of the Geeks and Grounds, family of
Yeah.
games.
Geeks and Grounds Reserve Select.
I like that. Yeah, that's part of the reserve, select reserve. Yeah.
The Select Reserve.
Reserve
Yes.
select. I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, that reminds me. I need to make a page with like all of the old games, and I'll call it Select Reserve.
The Select Reserve.
Yeah, it's fancy.
Incredible.
But yeah, so that's what I've been up to. Anything else you want to add?
Nah, I feel like it's been a kind of a busy couple of weeks for me, so I'm excited to
Yeah.
kind of get some more time to explore and
Mm-hmm.
and get back into some things.
Yes. And to keep it even busier, if you have more time that you want to fill with games, a few highlights, notable releases this week. The first, self promo disclosure, it's one that I've worked on, Spirit Swap Lo-Fi Beats Smash 3 2, launched Monday. I see future me being very relieved and tired, and I'm very excited for that.
Oh man.
I'm just so
That's so
stoked.
exciting. Well, congrats. That's like
Thank
such
you.
a huge accomplishment. And like anytime you get to play an active role in this level of creation, I think it's something it's absolutely worthy of taking some time to celebrate. So I'm
Yeah.
really proud of you, Jenny. That's really
I'm
cool.
I'm super proud. Honestly, I think folks in the Geeks and Grounds community understand this perhaps a little more than the average consumer, but like the fact that any game gets made is a bit of a miracle. The fact
Mm.
that any game gets published to the public is another layer of miracle. And I think the team has done an incredible job, and I'm really excited and proud. And I'm proud of myself because it was the first time I've done production among other lots of other things. I learned a lot, learned how to like do audio work, learned how to, well, I didn't learn how to write, but I wrote a little bit. So it's like it was really
Fun.
cool because it was an opportunity for me to flex a few other development stuff that I haven't gotten to really flex before. So that was cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So Spirit Swap, if you're into that kind of thing, go get it. It's really, really cute game. Rift of the Necrodancer, lots of Cadence of Hyrule folks who probably are very excited for this. A lot of what was the other Crypt of the Necrodancer? If you
Mm.
liked all those, you probably want to check out Rift of the Necrodancer and Keep Driving, which I am so excited for.
Oh.
Yeah, think Oregon Trail, but with a car and some good tunes. And yeah, that's kind of it. I think the actual goal of the game is you're trying to get to a concert or a show or something. I can't remember if it's game or the demo, but
I love that.
yeah.
And wild things happen along the way, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm.
Modern Oregon Trail, I would
Love it.
say, is like the best direct comparison if we're having to make one. But it was really, really fun. I've played that demo. I played the heck out of the demo when Steam Next Fest rolled around last year.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that is it for the Pace Your Case. As always, feel free to hit us up via voicemail. You can see that and other ways to contact us on geeksandgrounds.com. And as usual, we will send out these links along with the newsletter. And you can sign up for the newsletter at geeksandgrounds.com as well. And that leads us to this month's brew. Sorry, we're closed.
It what I don't okay. I just to put it out there.
Mhm.
Why is it so why does Sorry We're Closed as a title feel so similar to me as Thank Goodness You're Here? Like they're not
Yeah.
at all the same. And yet I hear it and like I can't
Mhm.
distinguish the two in my mind and I have referred to this game as Thank Goodness You're Here already.
Very different games too.
Very different
That's
games.
hilarious. Yeah, they both have this like colloquial sort of almost you hear them as a phrase feel.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, but I can see it. I can hear it. I can see it. I totally know what you mean. And now I probably will start referring
Oh
to this
no, I'm
game.
so sorry, everyone. I'm so
No.
sorry.
But yeah, that's a really good point. But I think, yeah, I don't know.
So as you've hopped into it, like,
Hmm.
have you played this before? Is this one of your first one
Uh,
playthroughs?
I played most of it. I did not finish it. So I played the vast majority of it. And then I was like, you know what? This is a geek. I can know already this is a Geeks and Grounds game. I want to
Hmm.
be able to preserve the last, probably, I would say, third of the game, quarter of the game, for the community when as we play through together. So I know most of the game, but I don't know the ending.
Very exciting.
Hmm.
As we like stylistically,
Yeah.
the opening sequence, like you're getting this, like, is it like, would you consider like PS1 level graphics? Like I'm struggling to like maybe place it, but
Yeah, like PS1,
stylistically,
maybe PS2,
maybe
depending on what
PS2.
game you're playing. Yeah, but definitely it feels retro, which is
Yeah.
funny to think of that as retro still. But yeah, it feels like it's been a few decades since the
Yeah.
graphics.
Man, so as you were hopping into it, like what were your first thoughts kind of getting back into the world?
Um, I think hopping into it, I just love the art. I
Mm,
think one of the things, even ahead of playing, just looking at the Steam page, looking at the trailers, the art is notable not just because it looks really cool. I think it's a great representation of this sort of early PlayStation era, but
mhm,
I think also the colors and the way that details and the contrast between really opulent moments and then really sort of stark, almost traditional survivor horror moments, the
mhm.
contrast between the two, you can see it in the screenshots, you see it when you play. It's probably one of my favorite parts of the game.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but like the spectrum of like a hellish underground landscape to like really dingy, dirty streets and apartments
Hmm.
to really gorgeous, beautiful, like almost hotel or cathedral esque look and feel. Like I hadn't
Hmm.
put my finger on that, but yeah, like just the impact of that sliding scale it's strong.
Yeah. What about you? What are some like first impressions or thoughts, but maybe
Mm.
even before you hopped in, or like as you were just getting started?
I really felt like I did not know what I was getting into from the preview. Like
Hmm.
it was one of those things where it's like in if you all have not watched the clip on the Steam page or whatever, it's like elements are like very third person, elements that seem first person, like some fighting, some dialogue, and I just like I had no sense of where I was expecting to walk into,
Hmm.
and as the game moves forward, it was still a while into it before I started getting my feet under me. Like, okay, I
Yeah.
understand now, like the navigation of this space and like the look and feel of it. It makes a lot more sense to me.
Hmm.
But I think going in, I was just like, this almost feels like it is defiant. Like I am defying genre in this moment. Like, good luck
Mm.
putting me in a box. I don't fit in one. So that was kind of my first impression. And so far, I mean, I've got the rhythm down, but I still feel that like we're operating outside of like genre right now.
Yeah, I think one of the things I like that you use the word defiant, especially because as we play, I think there are two things that specifically come up, like punk comes up for me, especially with the London setting.
Yeah.
Some of the music, the styling, the characters explicitly, the presence of like the music shop, culture shock. I think like this game has a very punk vibe, which is really interesting considering that, you know, we talked about punk back when we played Citizen Sleeper, which we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting to see this very punk feeling setting and theme and sort of characters come out in what I would not have initially put punk as like a word, but I think that's like a word, defiance, punk, and then like very gay,
Yep.
which we'll definitely be chatting about. I think this game really fuses a lot of these aesthetics, and it uses color and music really well, which we'll talk about because we get an awesome music. Did you? Well, yeah, we'll get to it, but there's an awesome music moment where I was just like, oh my god.
Oh, I hope I got it, man.
I think you did. I think you did.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like Ashtray Maze level, but it was still very, very cool.
Okay.
I think honestly at this point, just to throw back to what we played last month with Control, the Ashtray Maze is one of my pinnacle. This is why video games, you know,
this
like
why video games.
This is why video games moment
Yep.
was like Ashtray Maze is one of those, like just in a nutshell. This is why. It's so good. But before we get into like our kind of like talk through sort of deep dive, I wanted to quickly just read the Steam description. And then, yeah, after this, full spoilers for the first section of the game. But according to Steam, it says, Sorry We're Closed is a nostalgic single-player survival horror game with rich lore, deep characters, and multiple endings. Explore unsettling locations with fixed camera angles, fight in first person with demonic weapons, open your third eye to see between worlds, uncover secrets, and solve puzzles. And shout out to the developers A La Mode Games and the publisher Akupara Games. All right.
Very cool.
So the game begins, and we are in a very non-demonic, non-paranormal setting. Sort of a dingy street in London, and it's nighttime. And we're working in a shop. Yay. We have a job
store.
even here.
Yeah. Yes, we can't escape.
Nope. Yeah, so we're at the convenience store. And it turns out, I think we're like watching a soap opera.
Yeah, you're watching, like, it seems like there's a couple that's fighting, and like you're not really sure, like, okay, am I one of these people? And then it's like you're snapped out of it, like, hey, pay attention, you're working in this convenience store. Michelle is your name, is the character. And wow, how do you describe Michelle's look? It's almost like go-go dancer of the Iconic. 60s meets like 80s, like pastel punk goth, like some sort of fusion there, like blue hair, like long straight curly Q sideburns, like bright vibrant lipstick, and like neon clothes, and really chunky thick
jacket.
Boots.
Yeah,
great
honestly
jacket.
Like this is like a cosplay, like this character, all the characters honestly, but Michelle especially, I'm like, this is such a cosplayable character.
Yes,
so good. Yeah.
And so you get snapped out of your daydream, and it's like, I'm here at work, and you're kind of immediately thrown into this world, right? So like you see the PS1 graphics, like everything's a little bit, you know, pixely and rigid. You meet a character named Daryl who off the jump, not giving me positive vibes. I'm not feeling like Daryl's gonna be a good dude.
No, unfortunately, I feel like I mean, Daryl is one of those characters, like I was like, he's either going to be totally aggro or he's going to be like maybe a himbo. He's a little bit of a himbo, but he's more aggro and more irritating. I'm like trying to like him, but at this point, he's just kind of annoying.
Yeah, and he like immediately kind of starts referencing like your loneliness, Michelle's loneliness. We know that something has happened in Michelle's past. Daryl can't get his partner to accept his proposal, and we can't imagine why.
Again. So you know this has happened multiple times.
And like it was very like sadness baity to me. I don't know if that's a word or an expression or
Mhm.
whatever, but it's like this person's like they're kind of bringing this up to kind of prey on your loneliness to make you feel better about their loneliness or something, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't
it's sort of
know.
like a misery loves company vibe,
That's it.
and yeah, I
Yeah.
wasn't super into that. Um, I took a screenshot also of the soap opera that we were watching. First of all, I wanted to shout out the names of these characters are
Incredible.
incredible. You have Epiphany Oxblood and Canary Rouge. Oh my god. And the I noticed, and I want to highlight this because this soap opera comes up and the scene continues as we play. And so, just to talk about what's happening in the show, Epiphany and Canary are arguing, and Epiphany is saying, like, you are complying with everything I say. It's like I'm dating myself. Um, and I want someone who wants to be present with me. So show me something of yourself, show me your fiery side. So that's like what's happening in the drama. Yeah, and Daryl snaps you out of it. He's like, I'm here sobbing my heart out to you. Did you choose the option to like just say the price, like 555, or did you try to converse with Daryl a little
I think
more?
I did try to converse because like in this phase I'm very much in the like I'm trying to learn about myself mode, and I think the
Mm-hmm.
questions seem to be more indicative of like what's going on with me, which is how you like
Yeah,
learn about the breakup and
right.
things like that. So how about you? Did you choose to go for the price or did you probe a little bit?
No, I probed. I also was like, I honestly want to just say 555 or whatever and just go,
Hmm.
but I did also want to learn a little bit more. So, yep.
So it's interesting because like as almost as soon as like this interaction ends, you get to see kind of the setting, right? You come out to
Yep.
the streets and it's kind of like dingy London street corner, like it dingy
Mhm.
might be the wrong word, like dark, right? Like it has like a dark look and feel to it.
Mhm.
Posters hanging up, graffiti, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I immediately started like just running around and talking to everybody standing in the alley.
Yep. And you
Um,
get to meet the wonderful Oakley, who we had learned was the one who turned down Daryl's proposal. Oakley is a gem.
Oakley feels like the character that everybody wants to know and love. Like,
Yes.
I'm holding this community together, god damn it. Like
Oh my god. Yeah, I instantly like Oakley first of all is so cute, but also just like you just get good energy from Oakley,
mhm.
which is really interesting cuz you're just like, "Daryl? How? Why?" Um but Oakley loves Daryl. Like Oakley is not being facetious or tolerant of
Mhm.
Daryl. He genuinely enjoys being in a relationship with him. So super interesting. Can't wait to learn more about their relationship.
Yeah, and like the more I learn, the more I'm like actually very worried about them and their relationship,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest. But at this phase, just kind of like, yeah, things are rough, and we're moving forward. But
Yeah.
he starts dropping the most ominous stuff, like this
Yeah.
horoscope that gets very ominous. He's like talking about people going missing, and
Mm-hmm.
you can't help but feel like because like this is immediate, like you're in this story where they're like tons of romantic entanglements, like a lot of these like queer relationships, and it's like people going missing, especially in something that feels like it's maybe set in like the 80s. Like I can't help
Mm-hmm.
but have some of that feeling around like the AIDS epidemic and like what's happening there. So
Mm.
it just feels like there's obviously like whenever someone's going missing in town and there's a demonic horoscope happening, you never know, but like
Yeah.
given the context of the game, it just feels like this is maybe more symbolic or representing something more grounded in real life.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. And it is really unnerving to be in a community and them just being like, don't go after dark, don't go out after dark. Make sure you've got someone to protect you. And I think it's interesting that Oakley is specifically like, you don't have anyone. I have Daryl. Daryl will like go to hell and back for me, but you're alone. And I'm just like, thanks,
No.
I guess. Um, but it made me wonder because I'm like, well, it seems like, as I'm walking around, I'm talking with people, I do have these friendships. And so I started, especially again, because this is a game about relationships. This is ultimately what we're going to be discussing at the core of this month.
Hmm.
I started thinking about sort of the role of like having a romantic relationship be the primary protection that you have, and what that means, and how uh we can actually look to like platonic relationships. Your friends can do a lot of the same things your romantic partners can
Yeah.
do. And so it was interesting to have Oakley be like, you have no one, you're not safe. And I'm like, well, I have friends, right? Maybe I don't.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Maybe they're not as close to me, but that
Yeah.
was something that I flagged because I felt it very keenly when he said that I was in danger and needed someone.
Yeah, and yet as you walk around, it's like there's obviously like a pretty vibrant community here
Yeah.
because there are a lot of people just like chilling on the street.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just rattle off some names
Yep.
of
Go
folks?
for it.
So you meet Marty, who warns you about demons, and it's like, okay, are these literal demons? What's going on here? You have Violet, who's a new baker in town, opening up a
Mm-hmm.
food cart on the corner. You
So
have
cute.
Clarissa, who this like incredible like dancer vibe. Like
Mm-hmm.
I love like the colorful hair and the fishnets.
Yeah.
The character design actually reminded me a bit of the Spirit Swap character with like the crop top look and like the fishnet thing
Yeah. Yeah.
happening. But she's in the process of being suspended by Daryl, like as the dancer, like not being invited to dance that night. So it's like there's an undercurrent. Something's happening here.
Yep.
Not sure what.
Yeah. You also meet Lucy, who seems very different from the other residents of this block, in
Mm-hmm.
that Lucy is very like business. Cell phone, suit, doesn't talk to you. So Lucy is kind of an interesting character because everyone else seems very familiar with you, willing to chat, willing to like vent, and Lucy doesn't. So that was
Lucy
quite
gives me big
notable.
like Wednesday Adams, Aubrey Plaza
Yeah. Oh my
vibes.
gosh,
Like,
yes. Um, and then you also, as you wind down, you explore the neighborhood, you come back home to your apartment, you live in an apartment. Again, I think there's this like, in terms of the setting, I think this sort of, you're in your maybe 20s, mid
mhm.
20s, you're still kind of broke. It seems like you're not very well off, at least. You're in an apartment, you're working at a convenience store. So there's this like undertone also of, I don't know, capitalism
Yeah, yeah, that.
just to everything. So I think that was just interesting to know, is just you as a life person, your life isn't that fabulous. Like it's all
Yeah.
right, maybe not too much to complain about, but in addition to having this relationship problem that we're going to talk about, you're kind of like not doing a whole lot else, it seems
Yeah.
like.
I think you learn at this point that like the relationship was like 3 years ago. So maybe we're having a
Yes.
hard time moving on. As you make your way through the apartment building, there's a room a room that has a bunch of letters coming out of the floor and smells
Yeah.
really bad, which is like someone's gotta check that place out for a dead body, right? Like,
I
what are we
know.
doing here?
I couldn't tell because there's a post box number 9 where the person doesn't check their mail. And I'm like, is that room number 9? Is that the same
Mm,
person?
interesting.
But yeah, and you also meet Robin, who is the person who sort of signals to us, the player, this like extent of pining for 3 years for this person, not hearing anything back. And Robin is just like, you gotta let her go. You gotta let her go. And Michelle doesn't seem ready yet.
I mean,
But
to the term of readiness, like when you make your way to her apartment, did you read the
mhm,
note on her fridge?
yes.
It says something like, "I miss you, but I'm not ready for that yet. Maybe soon." And it's just like, well, I'm assuming we're getting that from the ex, but it's
Hmm.
like, I'm not ready for that. Maybe soon is like a really terrible way to keep someone like on the hook waiting for you. Makes it
Yeah,
hard to move on, you know? Like,
that's what I also thought. And it's weird because when you check the post box downstairs, um, Michelle says something like, or like internally says something like, oh, there's no letter. She hasn't written back yet. And so
mm,
this, it's like there has been exchange of letters. And so the one on the fridge is not the one that, it's like there should be more coming potentially or not, depending
yeah,
on what the ex decides. But yeah, there's just like, it's messy and it doesn't seem like we're coping very well.
right.
Um, our apartment is a studio. So again, it kind of just shows just the sort of just the state of our life currently. We live
Yeah.
in a studio apartment. We have sort of dirty dishes. We haven't taken out the trash. We're like not taking care of ourselves, but we're not doing like the best job either. I love that the art around, I think it's really cool. I love seeing interiors in games because it lets you really know about the characters. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I learned a lot about Michelle and just like what Michelle likes
Yeah.
from looking at like the art and the records and the snacks in the trash bin. So that was cool.
Totally agree. And then things get weird, and they stay
Hmm.
weird.
Yep, they get weird and they don't stop.
You go to bed,
Hmm.
and do you kind of have like what I can only describe as like sleep paralysis, where it's like you're awake
Yeah.
and conscious but can't move,
Yep.
and then what I would have referred to as your sleep demon comes through the door, and this thing is terrifying, like
Yes.
neon skin, very tall, spindly, like
Yeah. Like
long
terrifying
straight
teeth.
hair, the
Yeah.
teeth. Oh, is I think the quote is, "I have a beautiful opportunity for you."
Yeah. And then the demon says, "Your loneliness calls out to me. You ache to accept my proposal, yes?" Ah. Um, yeah, and so of course we say absolutely not. This is
Hmm.
like both of the options are a no. Um, and the demon doesn't take no for an answer. I believe the demon just says that they're disappointed, uh and that they're gonna like give us the time to sort of reconsider
Yeah.
their offer.
Yep.
And we get a little scratch on our forehead, which is more than a scratch. It's actually like the emergence of a third eye, gifted, quote, gifted to us by this demon.
All I can say is at this moment, I'm thinking, I hope that we go down the Tien Shen path of Dragon Ball Z and learn how to do like the tri beam so that I can fight the
Yeah.
demons. That's what I'm hoping for at this point.
Yes. Yeah. So this is no good. We wake up again and we can attempt to go down the stairs, but Daryl says the weirdest thing when he's like, I'm contemplating, and you can't let like girls cross your path when you contemplate. It's bad luck. I'm like, what?
So
Who
bizarre.
are you? So the only way to go is to the rooftop, which the door's looking a little different than
Hmm.
normal. Um, you open the door and you are suddenly not in your apartment complex anymore. You're in, again, I use the word opulent because it really is the word that came to mind. You have this lush wallpaper, you have gold like bordered paintings and trim
Hmm.
on the walls, you have a piano and like a big bed. um and you emerge in this room that is definitely not your home.
Right.
uh and as you explore, there's some weird touches. There's blood pooled in places. No one seems to be around. There's paintings of these, they're like centaurs, but with wings.
Hmm. Right.
And sort of these godly, almost deific sort of humans slash humanoids, kind of
Hmm.
all around. And you meet a really interesting character. Uh,
The Dream Eater,
yeah.
a giant crow-esque body, like bigger than you, crow,
Mm-hmm.
but with wings that don't outstretch, that has dangly human blue limbs just dragging along the outside of his body. Like it is absolutely nightmare fuel.
Yeah, this creature reminded me a bit of like No Face a little bit.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Not in terms of how it behaved necessarily,
Mhm.
but it had that sort of like in between feeling. But yeah, it's like, did it consume a human and that's just like the remains of the human sticking out? Like, you don't know what the deal is with this, but it doesn't feel good. For sure.
It
uh
basically, this creature starts like spitting prophecy to you that like you're
yeah.
gonna have this big impact on the world,
Mm-hmm.
that your decisions are going to like send ripples across like the spiritual realm or whatever. Kind of hints that an under something, we don't know if
Yeah.
it's underworld, underground, under palace, I don't know.
Yeah.
And At this point, is this where we get the opportunity to kind of talk about like who we are, like what we're gonna have happen at the end of the like at the end, the decision we're going to make?
Yeah, so there's one question that the Dream Eater asks where we as a player can pick for Michelle, sort of our goal or our intention. And the question asks whether we prioritize or aim for love, personal gain, destruction, or you can choose not to answer. What did you pick, Joel?
I chose not to answer on this one.
Me too. Oh
Oh,
my
really?
gosh. And the way that the Death Dream Eater read me, they said something like, ah, so you fear commitment. And I was like, I didn't come to the game for this.
How dare
How
you?
dare you? Um, I'd be really curious, and for anyone watching or listening, if you could put into the comments, like if you picked love, personal gain, destruction, or don't answer, and if you picked love, personal gain, or destruction, what does the Dream Eater say? I would be very curious to know because I feel like this is a impact the ending kind of thing.
I hope so. I think that'd be a
Me
really
too.
fun thing. And
I
I
hope
also hope
so.
that there's a different sassy, snarky remark for every answer.
I hope so. Yeah, I feel like there has to be. The devs have done a really good job. Like as you interact with things, there are very different flavor texts for everything. So I'm hoping they did.
Hmm.
Um, you explore this strange library, the Dream Eater's library, and there's a lot that you learn about what happened between the demons and the angels. You learn about this event called the Great Divide. You see some records of dreams that seem to be kept, like individual dreams that the Dream Eater is tracking, and it looks a little bit ominous for you because some of these records have the sentences from the Dream Eater like, I'm getting closer. It's time to, quote, chow down. Uh, and with all the bloodstains, it really doesn't feel like a safe place to be.
And then it turns out that it's not.
Nope.
You also learn that these like artifacts exist in this world. They might call to demons.
Mm-hmm.
But then as you go to talk to Dream Eater again, you get a terrifying chase sequence.
Oh my
This thing was
gosh.
so like, I don't know if it was the music or the pace or what, but like I was freaked out doing
Mm-hmm.
this run. Was it similar for you?
Same. I think what really freaked me out is the camera angle,
Yes.
because it took this top down, almost like in front of the character faced angle where you couldn't necessarily see what was in front of you. So you really feel like you're running without any insight as to where you're
Mm-hmm.
going. And it made me feel more panicked and more like frantic, which was great. I actually quite enjoyed
Yeah, it was
it.
like that fun, like gut sensation of like
Hmm.
of fear. And you run until there's like a gentle voice
Yeah.
that intervenes somehow.
Hmm.
Um, and you kind of at this point wake up and like you're
Yes.
describing your dreams to Lucy at
Hmm.
the corner store the next morning.
Yeah. Quick highlight. There are also like three feathers that I saw in the when the gentle voice comes up, there's like three feathers in the foreground.
Oh, I missed
And
that.
so in my head, I was like, is that for the centaurs or whatever those flying creatures are? Like, are one of those here to save me? But we don't know yet. But yes. Yeah, you're sharing your dream. Um, Basically that, and then we get the signal for day one. We explore, we can talk to folks, but the strange thing is, in addition to talking with our friends, we start seeing what look like strange lights or like silhouettes of figures around the street. Something's different.
Something's different or something is the same and we're just noticing.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some big story beats that happen throughout. Well, we're now in like day one,
Yep.
and I can't help but wonder how many days there are going to be as a part of this. Like, we're not given a countdown or anything necessarily,
Mm-hmm.
but especially like if this is somehow connected to like some religious elements, like I see like there's a numerology component. So I'm like really
Right.
curious to see like, are we on a 3-day timeline or a 7-day timeline or a 6-day timeline? And I'm just like, I'm really curious about that right now.
Yes.
So as you're kind of like going back and navigating the streets, like what were the big beats that stood out to you?
So, as you're navigating the streets, you hear about Oakley waiting for Daryl because the delivery is late again. So, we try to find Daryl. Again, we're seeing this tension in their relationship.
Hmm.
that we're going to have to explore even more as we play. When you find Daryl, first of all, he has minions that he calls Cerberus. So that's funny because there's three of them: Cerberus,
Mm-hmm.
dog with the three heads, and they're like preparing to beat this person up. They're going like they're threatening folks. And because he has a reputation to uphold. And so you're like, okay, Daryl really is making bad choices. I really feel perplexed again. Why is Oakley with this guy? And so we learn about him. I chose to tell Daryl that his delivery was late. Did
Mm-hmm.
you choose that option as
I chose
well?
the same. Yep.
Okay. And so you see Daryl like kind of lamenting the relationship and wanting to do the best for Oakley, and he kind of goes and does his thing. He also calls you Michelle dead girl as he leaves, which is pretty ominous. I don't
Yeah,
know, that
not great.
happens and it doesn't feel good. We also see Clarissa, and Clarissa is really interesting because basically Clarissa is like, we need to get rid of Daryl. We need to figure out how to deal with him because he is just not running the bar very well. He's costing business. We could do this better. Think about it. Wink. Not
It's an
even a wink.
odd
Just like,
message to get from a
yeah.
friend on the street.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I'm down to hear Clarissa out because Clarissa mentions like your boss is also the same. Like maybe we have to figure out how to do this. And I'm like, all right, I'll be willing to listen to that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then you go find Robin at Marty's shop, and you learn a little bit about Marty's like demon artifact hobby,
Yes.
which is really cute. And Robin ends up going to the subway station, and you're supposed to hang tight there, but you're not about to hang tight there. You're going to go
Nah.
see what's going on. And so this is what begins the first major like gameplay section of Sorry We're Closed. We go to the station and we see what looks like kind of the silhouette again of these figures. They're not moving.
Mm-hmm.
And Robin turns out is not simply of this world.
Robin is a demon. She has
Yeah.
this sick demon tail, this kind
Mm-hmm.
of like leather look to her with like one of those like ear flap Holden Caulfield winter
Yeah.
hats.
So funny.
Really love the design of this character, and she's gonna
Yeah.
kind of be a mentor for you at this phase, like helping you learn
Mm-hmm.
how to like use your powers and find weapons and whatever. The very
Mm-hmm.
first thing you learn how to do is kind of open your third eye, and when you approach those silhouettes in the entryway, you see that there's like you're seeing like a captured moment of a murder happening, seemingly
Mm-hmm.
for money. And we learn
Yeah.
that the person who committed the murder has the same curse that you have.
Yes.
And it kind of like, I think that kind of sets out like, this is your journey. Like you are trying to like, before time runs out on this curse, you are trying to, um, make this happen.
Yeah. And I just looked it up because I actually made a note of this in my notebook and I forgot to mention, Robin, I'm pretty sure uses they, them pronouns.
Right.
I think there are some characters, I just need to take a note because we met a lot of them, but I'm pretty sure that's, Robin's pronouns.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But yeah, okay, so we have to go figure out what's going on with this memory. You grab your amazing magical girl looking axe. It's really cute, honestly. And this begins the combat section where when you attack, you have to switch to first person view to do your attacking. And then when you explore, you have to switch to third person view. Uh, Admittedly, at first, and even now, sometimes it's a little bit clunky because if I'm panicking, I will forget what buttons to press.
I hate it. I hate it deeply.
Really? You
I
hate
hate
it
it
deeply.
so much. I don't like the like you choose, you can either run or use your third eye. You can either fight
Mm-hmm.
third person and do like no damage, or you can fight first person and just stand there and hope that you attack fast enough and in the right place that you don't get killed. Like it is perhaps the least fun I've had in combat in any game
Oh
ever.
no.
So I immediately hit those accessibility moments. I increased my damage
Beautiful.
output. I have my auto run toggle on. So a little bit of quality of life things to make it better. But like
Mm-hmm.
it is for me, it is a game stopping experience with
Oh
this combat.
no.
So I have, after dying many times, made my way
Mm-hmm.
through this subway. It's, you know, it's typical stuff, right? Like the power's out. You have this quote hellhound that is a gun. You're going to try and
Mm-hmm.
ride the subway so that you can explore more and learn more. And as you do, you're finding more moments with this person who, like you, has been cursed. So
Yes.
I think the story is making sense, and like I'm very compelled by it. And now that I have the accessibility features turned on, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm basically just like running past all the baddies as often as possible so that I can like get to rooms, do puzzles,
Yeah.
whatever. But I am so turned off by this combat. It's killing me.
That's so funny. You know, and I feel like that combat is the most divisive element I've seen of people talking about the game, where it's like either you kind of love it or you hate it.
Mm.
And I'm on the more of the love it train, honestly. I think I agree with you. I wish you could run and have your third eye on at the same time, simply because sometimes walking just feels so slow.
Yeah.
But I once I got used to the switch, I actually found it quite I find it quite enjoyable in a it's forcing me in a lot of ways to be a bit more strategic as I play. And I kind of like that limitation that it
Mm.
provides me. But yeah, again, this is a game that I think it'll quickly, for anyone who plays, will decide whether or not they are on one side or the other. Um, as we explore, uh, I did one thing that I regret, and I have a save file that I might just go back. And that is, so you can find this one character who is hungry,
Mm-hmm.
and you can give this character a moldy sandwich, and that seemed to be the right thing to do. I found a jar of pickles, and I was like, what if I gave this person, or a demon, I don't know, you can't see it, but what if I gave this thing a jar of pickles, even though they didn't ask for it? A, they hated the jar of pickles.
Yes.
B, there's another spot immediately after this area where you should give the jar of pickles, and I was so
Oh,
mad. I may actually restart my save just to do that.
just to
So
know.
so annoying. Yeah. And get what I'm sure is probably like just an achievement or something,
Yeah.
not story integral. But as you explore again, yeah, you see the story of Jenny, this in game, the character's name is Jenny, this sort of like multi-millionaire, rich, wealthy person who only cares about money. And at the end of the subway, you encounter this nightmare demon from your dreams. Uh, and they're able to change, and you learn that their name is uh,
The
basically the
Duchess.
Duchess. Um, and the Duchess is cruel. There's no other way to put it. The Duchess takes away Jenny's eyes uh, because just the Duchess decided that's
That's
just
the
what
right thing to do.
the right thing to do, because the relationship didn't pan out in the way the Duchess wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
There's something so Doctor Who-esque to the Duchess
mm,
for me. Like the
interesting, yeah.
name, the way they execute their cruelty. It just feels like I'm
Hmm.
witnessing like a soon to be iconic Doctor Who villain.
Yeah, I have not seen Doctor Who, but I can feel that. Like I feel the iconic villain for sure. Honestly incredible, like Sephiroth level for me. You then go through this boss battle with a subway like mole rat that's chasing you on the trains, and this is where for me I was like, the music here slaps. It
It
is
was really
so
good there.
good.
For sure.
And playing and like having to do the sort of special heartbreaker hits, um dodging the hand, like I thought that was just a really fun battle.
Yeah.
um for speedrunners also, you get a time for how long it took you to do the underground station, so I thought that was really fun, and you get like a
Oh,
ranking.
yeah.
So that was, I like that kind of data. And you enter in what seems to be the Duchess's the hotel is a euphemism. Essentially, it seems like a prison. It is the Duchess prison of previous relationships and exes. You decide, I don't want to go into the room that you have ready for me. And so the Duchess says, you know what? I'll let the curse do its thing. You don't have to go into your room yet. Um, be free for now. And so
Mm-hmm.
you're left to explore this hotel, which when you have your third eye on, you see sort of the darkness and dinginess of this place, but when it's off, you just see this beautiful, lush hotel. Um,
It's
I
some interesting people there. Like Clarissa is there.
mm-hmm.
They're an angel.
Yep.
And like the angel demon thing does not kind of line up with your expectations. It
Mm-hmm.
is much more ambiguous. There's an undercurrent of violence, I would say, to Clarissa. Um, you're on a mission, by the way, to get to the church, which is where Robin's 500-year long situationship is hanging
Yeah,
out.
love it.
Uh, which Benedict, is that the name?
Yes.
And the idea is that person is going to be able to work out a formula to help you with your curse.
Mm-hmm.
Any other big moments in the hotel that stood out to you?
I thought it was really interesting. We met the massive eyesore, which was a puzzle element in the subway. That was really funny. The massive eyesore is actually the remnant of an angel that was in a relationship with the Duchess. What I
I
thought was,
missed that.
oh my
Wow.
gosh, it was a really cool. I might post the screenshots because I think what's really interesting is the massive eyesore, just as we're talking about relationships in this, relationships that are not good don't always have, folks who are in them don't always want to leave. And I think the
Mhm.
massive eyesore is a good example of, this is not a good relationship. And you almost even acknowledge, or you definitely acknowledge, this isn't a good relationship, but you don't want to leave. And I think that was a really interesting character perspective to bring in.
Mm.
And with more time next week, we can definitely delve into that, because that was, I thought, really, really compelling, from just what this game is trying to present to us. I know you're like right on time for recording.
Yeah,
Should
you hit
we
the last two
maybe?
story beats and like the limo ride. I can do maybe to
Yeah.
35 if that's.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Let's we'll rush through. For listeners, we do have like a hard stop today, but what we'll do is we'll at least cover the story beats, and then we can spend next week digging a little bit deeper, because we won't leave these, sort of stones unturned. As you leave the hotel, you you basically realize that Lucy, another member of your neighborhood community, is actually a demon as well. And Lucy is an interesting, like, sort of split bodied demon.
Hmm.
And Lucy's also the operator, who is kind of hilarious. You've been calling
Yes.
operator to save, and operator has been very cheerful about your potential demise and like your situation that you're in. So yeah, I thought it was really funny because that's such a contrast to the personality Lucy has.
They offer you an opportunity to like make a deal with them, which I'm
Mm-hmm.
curious about what you did. I made the deal immediately. I was like, yes, I'm in. You and me,
Ooh.
Lucy. We're going to the end. We're going to try and take down the Duchess together.
I did not take the deal, with
Hmm.
only one reason, and that is because uh operator, or Lucy, really focused on the fact that I want to grow into a person, or become the person, or get back my ex, like grow into the person your ex will love, get back your ex. And I was like, I don't want to be with the Duchess, but I also don't want to, like, I feel like I don't want to commit to going back to my ex. And so that
Mm.
was the reason why I did not commit to this deal with Lucy.
Well, if it's any relief, I immediately regretted the decision because for me, it was like, oh, well, this is the only lead that I have, so I'm just going to take it. But then
Mm,
the very next scene, you get to the church and you meet Benedict, and turns out
right.
Robin is alive, and the person that's kind of been
Yes.
your mentor could still be helping you. But it's a really fascinating scene. Like you learn that
Mm-hmm.
Benedict is an angel and Robin is a demon, and that there are all these negative consequences that can happen when the two fall in love. There are
Mm-hmm.
negative consequences that can happen with it when a human falls in love with a demon. So there's like, to your earlier point, like the relationships in this are going to be really key. And
Mm-hmm.
I was immediately bummed out that I chose to partner with Lucy after
No.
that.
But I'm excited from like the experience standpoint, because I think this puts us on slightly divergent paths. I
Hmm.
don't know if we'll get the same ending or not, but I think maybe it'll be interesting to see if some of our interactions change because of it, because I don't know how much this game diverges, or if it does, between some of these choices that you make. The very end of this section, you get home, the Duchess is there on the bed, and basically Michelle's like, yo, this is going too fast. What happened to like taking it slow, courting, the slow burn? And Duchess is like, I've got an eternity, and I want your love, and really kind of just ignores you. And the Duchess says, like, I have to believe that you will eventually love me, which is a really sad thing to say.
It has a sad element to it for sure.
Yeah. And just to conclude here, the Duchess, because Michelle asked that very question, which I really appreciated. Like, why are you so eager for a human to love you? And the Duchess says, you and I are the same. We both had it, love, and it was taken from us, and it leaves a festering wound where its exit remains. Human hearts have the power to heal. Your pain is fleeting. Your minds can change. I need that. And this idea of like change was really interesting to see, because that was what was brought up at the beginning in the soap opera, where it's like in that soap opera moment, these two people are talking about how you're not willing to change or like show your fire or be like different. So I thought that was a really nice tie back to sort of the way that we began this section.
Totally agree. And I'm like super interested to see where this relationship goes with the Duchess. Like they are clearly evil. They're clearly not up to no good. And yet there's something very sincere in what they're looking for. And I'm just really fascinated by this character. So eager to learn more.
Look amazing. Honestly, it's hard because all the characters look so cool. And I'm like, Duchess, if you were not cruel, I'd totally date you.
Duchess, can you hear me?
Oh my gosh. So one thing I wanted to ask as we wind down today's discussion, we are seeing a lot of examples of perhaps not so healthy relationships. And so one of the things I was thinking about is, what can help you is when you look at, this is what I don't want, which is kind of a lot of what we identified today. But what do you look for? Like, what could we hope for Michelle or ourselves, when we look at relationships?
I think there's something to the idea of that opening sequence of like being secure enough in yourself that you can ask for what you need, and that is heard and received. I think to me, that's like one of the most important facets, and it's something I hope that we kind of uncover with Michelle as we're moving forward.
I love that.
How about you?
Really good. Oh man. I mean, I think what you mentioned is a big one. I think being able to also to be able to ask for what you need and be heard, and also to be able to change and evolve in your relationship and still find ways to product, if you are continuously able to stay together through your changes. I think that for me is like the signs, a sign of a healthy relationship. But also to recognize when those changes cause your paths to divest. And I think that's really important. And that's part of change, is like knowing when things mesh really well and when things don't, and being honest and like helpful to one another and kind to one another to recognize when that's happening.
Love that.
Yeah. But February, it's the month of love. The month of relationships. Again, I think with this game, what I'm excited for is also to look at the ways Michelle is connecting, because we're connecting with a lot of people, not just Duchess. And so I'm interested to see how our connections with the wider neighborhood impact maybe what's going on with the Duchess as well.
Feel the same.
Yay. All right. So before we head out, again, next week we're going to be playing... Sorry, we're closed. We're continuing in the game. We're going to play until we finish day 2. So we're just going to keep it hopefully easy. There's a nice title card that comes up when you're done with the day. And just once you finish day 2 and you've saved, you're all set.
Thank you so much for joining us at Geeks and Grounds. Love chatting about these games with you all. Be sure to get your hellhound spayed or neutered when you find yourselves in the streets of London.
Oh my goodness. PSA for everyone.
Bye.
Bye.